everybody. I'm Andrea Mounce-Halasz, and I'm coming to you from Activate Health Osteo Clinic here in my treatment room. And I'm here today to talk to you about the FAB 5. So, I've been posting a lot in this group about creating your thoughts, creating your reality from your thoughts. What you create, you bring about, changing your thoughts to change your world. And a lot of people have asked, well, how do I do that? How do I change my thoughts? How do I get this negative thinking to switch over to a more positive and more creative thought process? So the technique that I developed is called the FAB 5. There's 5 steps to it, and it might be 5.5 if you want to call the last one, because it's a double one of the last. So find it, face it, feel it, let it flow, fill it with love, focus on what you want. It's kind of 6 really, but that's okay. So when you use this, you can use this anytime that you're feeling something overwhelming in your body, something that is pulling your attention out of the present. Maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's panic, maybe it's pain, maybe it's disease, maybe it's dysfunction, maybe it's a situation that you're having trouble dealing with. You can use the FAB 5 at any point in time to help you with this. So I typically do it at the end of the day, just as I'm falling asleep and crawl into bed, and I just spend some time connecting to my body and asking various questions to try to feel to heal, to try to create the emotion into motion. So emotion is just energy in motion, emotion, energy in motion. When it's not emotion, that's when it becomes, might be a little problematic. So we need to keep those feelings moving through our body so they don't get stored in our body. One of the ways that you want to make sure that you work towards is get to that point that you can connect to your body and connect to the various organs that you have in your body. In the beginning, that's not so easy. Well, let's pick 2 simple ones. Your breathing, your expansion and retraction of your chest when you breathe. You don't typically notice it all day long, but if you really focus on it, you can feel the expansion of your chest and the retraction. Then the other one, that one's kind of easy, but the other one might be a little more difficult, and that's your heartbeat. Connect to the heart, connect to that heart beating. See if you can count it without checking your pulse. See if you can feel it, see if you can count it. That will start to bring you more connected to your body, which is so, so important. So, back to the FAB 5. Again, this is what I do every single night to clear any issues in my tissues. And yes, there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. There's an unlimited supply of issues in our tissues. There's always something that we can work on. So don't think that you'll run out, because there's probably always something that will come up that you need, that you've stored at some point in time, or just yesterday, or just this morning, or whatever, that you'll need to work on. So our first step of the FAB 5 is find it. So what is find it? Well, find it is like that connection to your body. And you ask the question, where am I feeling this, whatever this is, in my body? Don't even have to name it at this point. Where am I feeling this in my body? And the first place that you're drawn to, put your hands on it so you can really connect to that spot, or that space, or that tissue. Well, at the end, I'll show you how to talk to you about how to do it in your field. But first time, we'll just do it in our physical body. So once you connect to that spot, get into an imaginary submarine in your head and travel down to that spot, whether it's here, whether it's here, whether it's here, whether it's your knees, whether it's your head, wherever you're drawn to first. That's find it. Where am I feeling this or whatever in my body? First place I'm drawn to is right here, my heart. So obviously something in there needs to be worked on even today. Even though I did this last night, I can always work on it more. So that's find it. Our second step is face it. Now that doesn't mean you go facing it like, you go away, smarten up. No. Face it is like having a FaceTime with it. You know, when you have a FaceTime with your friend, you chit-chat, you get to know each other, you catch up on news, whatever. Maybe it's somebody new, so that you would have to do a little bit more of introductory stuff. So I have found it, got in my imaginary submarine, go down to the space inside my body, even if you don't know the organ that it's stuck in. Maybe it's stuck in fascia, maybe it's stuck in fluids, maybe it's stuck in your ribs, it doesn't matter, get the general area. Okay, so now I'm connected to it, I go down to it, and I have a FaceTime with it. I basically say, do you have a message for me? How are you doing? How can I help you? What is it that I need to know? One of the questions I always ask is, do you have a name? Now, you might get a person's name, and if you get a person's name, Elmer. So if you get Elmer, then you say all that belongs to Elmer is in their field. You send what that person you've drawn from that person. Maybe you're an empath, maybe you're taking on some stuff that you want to try to help them with. Unfortunately, when we take issues from other people's tissues, we don't help them with it. We rob them of the opportunity for them to clear it themselves, which is what they've chosen to do in this lifetime. So, the first one, do you have a name? If you get a person's name, all that belongs to Susie Q is in her field. Then, if you get, when I ask, do you have a name, I'm usually looking for sadness, gladness, frustration, anger, grief, loneliness, abandonment, any of those. And as you research and be very familiar with more and more emotional names, those names will come to you. Okay, so I'm going to connect to that. Actually, I'll go through all the steps and then I'll actually clear whatever is in my heart there. So that's face it. We ask, do you have any information for me? Do you have a lesson for me to learn? Do you have a name? If it's a person's name, all that belongs to is in their field. If you get an emotional name, like frustration, anger, whatever, then you're going to do the next step. Now, if you don't get anything, you can ask, how old are you? Not here, because I'm going to get 65. I'm 65. But if I ask here, how old are you? The first number that pops into your head. Now, interesting enough, I got the number 4. So something imprinted on my heart when I was 4. I don't know. It's not coming to mind. We don't have to figure it out. But let's just get the steps and then we'll actually do it. So how old are you is another question you can ask. The first number that pops into your head. In your mind's eye, you're going to go to yourself at that age and you're going to help them go through the FAB 5. Get them to connect to where they feel it. Get them to connect to, does it have a name? Anger. Okay, we're getting anger here, so let's feel anger. All right, so that's face it, which leads me to the next step, which is feel it. So once you have either an age, or if it's happening right now at 65 for me, then and you've got a name of an emotion, you actually feel it. Not from here, but from that spot where you first felt it. Once you connect to the spot that you've been drawn to, all of the steps take place from that spot, not in your head, from here. So then you feel it, and you feel it as the 4-year-old or as the 65-year-old, as whatever age that came up for you, whatever emotion that came up for you, you feel it till you don't need to feel it anymore. Now here's where people go, no, I can't go into that. Oh my gosh, I'll start crying and I'll never stop. Research has proven that the longest it'll last is 90 seconds. And I have found in clinic when I do this with patients that it lasts 10 seconds, sometimes not even that long, because they've connected truly to it. It just gets the emotion moving, it gets the energy flowing, which is let it flow, which is kind of together with feel it and let it flow, because once you feel it, it will get it in motion and it'll flow out of your body. Yes. How do you know it's flowing out of your body? Sometimes you'll take a spontaneous breath. You'll just go, oh. Sometimes you won't get any of those signals, but you'll know it is because you'll feel lighter. Sometimes you won't feel anything in the beginning as you're learning to connect to your body. Sometimes you don't feel it, but trust me, when you connect to it and you feel it, you are moving it. You are putting energy in motion, or the emotion is now moving, which is good. All right, so that leads us to our final step, which is fill it with love. And if we want to add it on another one, fill it with love and focus on what you really want. So let's do fill it with love. So again, we'll actually go through this, but just for information's sake, and then we'll actually do it. So I'm going to feel this, once I've felt whatever I have come up with for this information here during my face it, I fill this empty space with love, with my heart. I fill it with love. Now with my mind, I focus on what I really do want, whether it's a peaceful, easy feeling, whether it's a conflict that you're dealing with someone that's resolved, whether it's something you're concerned about, a health issue, see yourself already in health. So fill it with love, focus on what you really do want. All right, so find it, face it, feel it, let it flow, fill it with love, and focus what you really want. Excellent. So before we actually do it, I just want to kind of quickly go through, let's talk about that now. So that's if you're finding things in your physical body. I want to talk to you a little bit about what I sense these issues in the tissues are in the body and or the field. So here's a depiction of an energy field. And there's many, many depictions. And then you have this 7 main energy centers of your chakras, which are not depicted there. But you see it's like, I call it like a bird cage that surrounds you. And it goes from connected to the body out to some people that are like 5-6 feet away from their body. They have very big energy fields. But that's what it looks like. When I'm asking, where are you in my body? This is kind of how I see it. It looks to me like tangled balls of yarn. That's what it looks like to me. And those tangled balls of yarn, as I said, can be anywhere in your body. When I ask, where are you living? Could be your head, could be your throat, could be your shoulder, could be your chest, could be your belly, could be your knee, could be your foot. And what is it? It can be pain, it can be dysfunction, it can be disease, it can be an emotional thing. It doesn't matter. You're not labeling it yet. You're just asking, where am I drawn in my body? Where do you need me to go? Where are you? Where is it? And again, they look like tangle balls of yarn. And when you do the process, those tangle balls of yarn, to me, they kind of untangle and unwind and dissolve with this beautiful love and compassion. And then the energy, the bird cage that we have is flowing well. That's if they're in the body. But guess what? They can also be in the field. So once you get really good at this and finding it in your body, there's another step. You can go to those tangle balls of yarn in the field. So kind of expand your thought process to go beyond your physical body and think out into your field. And again, you'll be drawn to these little clumps, these little tangle balls of yarn that even though you can't you can maybe put your hands on it and out here, even if you don't feel it, know that it's there. But whatever you're drawn to, that's where you go. And you go through the same process. Do you have a name? Is it a person's name? Then you send it back to all it belongs to is in their field. If you get a name of emotion, you feel it, so you're finding it, you're feeling it, you're letting it flow, you're filling it with love, and you're focusing on what you do want. So, like I said, you can do this in the body, and you can do it in the field. And maybe in the beginning you just start to work on it in your body, and then get to that point that you can do it in your field. I do both every single night. I do my body. I kind of ask, where in my body or where in my field? I kind of ask together, so wherever it wants to draw me to first, that's where I go. Okay, we ready to try an example? Let's do it. Alrighty. So, you can do it along with me if you like. So just first of all, ground, bare feet on the floor, ground yourself. You can use an essential oil to ground yourself, maybe some Northern Lights black spruce on your feet, maybe some Valor, maybe diffuse some peace and calming or Valor, or maybe you want to use frankincense in your third eye to kind of open up your intuition to see what comes up, or just connect to Mother Earth by just growing roots, imaginary roots out of your feet down to the center of the earth. Here we go. So, got to empty that mind, because if you're thinking about your grocery list and your appointments that you have to do, blah, blah, no, you're not going to be able to, you're just going to get nothing. And the moment you start thinking about it too much, you're already thinking about it too much. So it's that first thing, that first hit. So if you try this and you don't get anything in the beginning, that's kind of normal. That happens with a lot of people. So what you do is you just go to where you're actually feeling pain or anxiety, or you have disease or dysfunction. Go to that area because you've been diagnosed with whatever, or you know because your knee's hurting. Then just in your mind's eye, go to there and sit there with love and compassion. Yes, that's what you do. Okay, but we're going to assume that you can take it to the next level, and we're going to actually try it. So again, ground yourself, connect to your body. I do it with my eyes closed. And the first thing I'm going to ask is, where am I feeling this in my body? So I'm getting two spots. I'm getting heart and I'm getting throat chakra. So I'm going to ask, which is the priority for right now? And I get my heart, that one that I got the very first. So there we go. We found it. We know whatever it is, we know where at least it is in the body. So I'm going in my imaginary submarine. I'm traveling down. I assume it's my heart, but it could be my ribs, could be my sternum, could be my lung, but it doesn't matter as long as you're in the general vicinity. Okay, so I'm there. Do you have a name? Not getting a person's name, so I don't need to send off to whoever. Don't need to say all that belongs to is in their field. So now I'm going to ask, do you have a lesson for me? And I just heard to heal. Now, when I say I heard, I'm not hearing voices. It's those first thoughts that pop into my head. That's my inner self. That's my higher self, I should say, my inner ding talking to me. So I know that this is an opportunity for me to heal because my inner self told me that. So, do you have a name? First thing I heard is sadness. So I'm going to go there. Don't need to figure out what I'm sad about. I just need to feel it. So I'm just going to feel sadness until I don't need to feel it anymore. Whatever it takes for you to go into sadness. Maybe you have to imagine, an event or something that's made you very sad in the past, or maybe I can just connect to it and feel it. So I'm feeling sad right now from this area, not from here. Oh, there's my breath, my spontaneous breath. That tells me that it flowed. I felt it. It flowed. Now I've got an empty space there. I got to fill it with love. So now I'm going to fill it with love. And I'm going to focus on what I really want. So I'm feeling it with my heart. And I'm focusing it with my brain. I'm focusing on a picture of me being happy, calm, and peaceful. And you'll know it shifted because everything will feel lighter. It'll just feel much lighter. Okay, let me do one in the field. I'm sure I have one. I'm positive I have. So I'm going to expand my awareness. Now, again, in the beginning, just do the ones in your body. That's enough. That's a lot to take on. And you may not get this right from the get-go, but work on it and work on it. The more you're able to connect to your tissues, the more you'll be able to go through this process. So now I'm going to, where am I? Right here. Didn't even get the word out. So my hands were drawn to that area. Do I actually feel a tangled ball of yarn? Very subtly, but I can feel the energy, that bird cage energy. I can feel it not flowing there. Like it's coming out here and it's stuck there. I can feel my energy stop right there. Again, some of you guys are really able to feel this and sense this stuff, but some of you haven't got there yet, but that's okay. That's all right. You deal with what you can do. So right here, in my mind's eye, I get in my little submarine and I travel out of my body into this field area right here. It's a little tangle ball yarn. And I ask, do you have a name? Not getting a person's name. If I did, I would say all that belongs to is in their field. Now I'm going to ask again, do you have a name? Still not getting anything. So I'm going to ask, how old are you? Now here's the number 4. Remember I heard that number 4 before? So here I'm going to connect to me, the 4-year-old. So I'm going to go in my imagination. I'm going to travel back to when I was 4. So I'm just connecting to her. And I'm just going to go up to her and say, hi, how are you? And connect to her. Maybe she's in the sandbox. Maybe she's at the beach. I'm not sure where she is. I think she's out in my former backyard playing in the sandbox. Yeah, I can see it. So I just sit down beside her and just say, I can see you're upset. How can I help you? And I can feel her crying. I can feel her sad. She's feeling lonely. There's a bit of anger there. So I'm just going to connect to her and say, just feel what you need to feel. What is it that you need to feel? She says anger first. So I'm going to feel anger as a 4-year-old from the spot. Oh gosh. Had to get a complicated one for demonstration purpose, but that's what it is. So I'm getting that 4-year-old to feel anger, stomp her feet, shake her fists, whatever it's going to take for her to feel. There it goes. I can feel this tangle ball of yarn start to unwind, and I can feel my tissues that start to lighten. There's not as much of a tight hold on my tissues through this field lesion. And now she just wants to feel lonely, kind of lonely and sad all together. So I'm just encouraging her to feel that loneliness and sadness. There she goes. There she goes. So there. Now, whenever you get a number and you go back to that yourself at that age, do not leave her or him until you sense that they've got it. They are happy-go-lucky. They climb out of your lap or they let go of your hand and they go, see ya, and they run off and play. In your mind's eye, you will see that, I promise. So I'm going to stay with her. She just needs to cry on my shoulder a little bit more. She needs a little bit more love, a little more hugs, and just more reassurance that everything is okay. She's never lonely because your higher self, is always with you. There she goes. Now she's happy and she's running away. Now I don't feel that tangle ball of yarn in there. Now I feel my energy flow. So again, you may not feel that right from the get-go, but I promise you, you stay with it. It will get there. It will get there. Start with the issues and the tissues, then work towards the field. And again, just FAB 5, FAB 5, FAB 5. Once you clear the issues in your tissues in your body and in your field, things will start to shift. Your thoughts will start to change. Your mood will change. It just shifts you from being in that to being much happier, much lighter, much healthier. Yeah. And keep in mind that our disease, dysfunction, pain, 90% of all of those things that happen to us have an emotional component. I'm not saying that it's all emotional, but it definitely has an emotional component. So if you're feeling something that's very out of the ordinary, of course go talk to your doctor. Get them to do all of the tests that need to be done. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for the tests or you're waiting for the doctor's appointment or whatever, FAB 5, FAB 5, FAB 5. You'll be glad you did. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.